All right. Looks like the number of attendees is slowly ticking up. But we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome everybody to another Works with the Next webinar. Today we're going to be talking at VisionLabs. I'm here with Anton and Nazarkin and Michael Bryant. Anton, you want to go ahead and take over?
Yeah, sure. So you have a radio format voice for sure. Or a good microphone. Or both.
A good microphone, yeah, that's the one.
Yes, so hi everyone. Thank you for your time. My name is Anton, and I'm the head of global sales at VisionLabs. Together with me is Mike Bryant. He's my colleague and friend. He's both a very good expert in network optics products, as well as he is the regional manager for the North America market division, as we call it here at VisionLabs. Today, I will give a brief overview about VisionLabs and how we moved into this cooperation with network optics, but more important for me would be having questions from you. As Tony said in the beginning, answering to some questions in the QA section, we will try and do an experiment today with live audio questions, and I hope it turns out okay. So let's start.
One more thing. In the meantime, if you guys do have questions, you can go ahead and write them in. We'll probably save the audio Q&A till the end. So in the short term, if you have questions as you see some of these slides, go ahead and ask in the question and answer section of your Zoom interface. Over to you, Anton.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Yeah, so VisionLabs. VisionLabs as a company was started in 2012, and today we have a little over 120 people. And the focus of VisionLabs is developing computer vision engine, right? So obviously the most famous one is face recognition engine from VisionLabs, but we do have a lot of other things in store, which I will tell a little about during this presentation as well. And to us, the concept of both network optics and VisionLabs meets together in a perfect spot, simply because both our tool and tool from NX allows you to basically create whatever type of implementation you need for the customer. From the business logic perspective, from the technology combination perspective. And this is why we are both having here an opportunity to utilize the full functions of both platforms, the VisionLabs one and the NX one.
Hey, Anton, just a quick question about you guys when you started. Maybe you know the answer. Do you know, like, what was the first kind of project or customers that were kind of requesting this?
Yeah, the funny thing is the first products and customers were coming from the ANPR or LPR side of things. And the first product ever created by VisionLabs was a very small, like the coin size SoC that was capable of running live number plate recognition. But the founders, who are scientists and software developers themselves, soon realized that the ANPR market is an overcrowded space. So they were looking into the wider range of computer vision applications and chose face recognition since it was on the rise back then due to the switch to the neural networks as the core technology for the face recognition.
That's interesting. So you guys started off in the hardware world and made your way to pure software.
It's a combination of hardware and software in the beginning, yes. But
yeah,
the reality is like one founder is a hardcore embedded systems coder. The second one is a scientist focusing on computer vision and machine learning for the last 15 years or so. And this is why also it's possible for us to introduce gradually a lot of interesting things, combining the core technologies and engines that we already have developed and enriching them with some other tools and interesting stuff that we will be adding this year and next year in terms of the behavior analytics and stuff like that.
So it sounds like the two founders have the two skill sets that, when combined together, end up with like a lightweight face recognition engine that could run on lots of different types of hardware, right?
Yeah, you see, this is the right question for this slide, obviously, right? And yeah, and the thing is, of course, the product in its shape today is not the sole achievement of these two guys or three guys or five guys, right? It's a very complex and interesting system. I think the version count is now 3.9.3 for Luna SDK and 4 dot something for Luna platform. So it's a lot of work of a lot of people. But yeah, the combination of two guys who are able both to create the algorithms, train them, and then write efficient software is a good thing to start the company for sure.
All right, I'll stop interrupting. Go ahead.
So, in terms of the two major products that we have, are basically two kits. One is we have C++ API, and we have a RESTful API. This RESTful API basically is running on top of the C++ core Luna SDK that we have, right? And as I said before, all functions, modules, and settings are completely open to the systems integrator or technology partner. And we will show how these functions can be tackled in an easy way from an NX interface. And the whole idea is that even though the engines themselves have a lot of interesting stuff that you can tune when using the system, the reality is that the customer or partner even doesn't have time or doesn't have the required skill set to do the all fancy ways and different measures for the CNN tune-up. So we tried to make it as easy as possible and wanted it to work seamlessly and be applied instantly from the NX interface. So when it comes to engine, right, the engine is the same for Luna SDK and Luna platform. And it does face recognition. In face recognition, you all know that there is one-to-one matching or verification. There is one-to-many matching or one-to-n matching, and it's called identification. And there is end-to-end matching or many-to-many matching or database clustering, right? Obviously, around the face recognition functionality, we do have a lot of interesting estimators like age, gender, emotion, race. If it comes for race detection, for example, and tolerance of the engine to be working equally well on different races, which is a major problem for all face recognition engines. According to the NIST test, we are the best in the world today, both for one-to-one matching and one-to-many matching. There will be a link to my email after the presentation, so you can message me if you haven't seen this part of the demographics report from NIST. But anyways, the age detection is also very robust. You'll be able to experience it yourself. Obviously, age detection and all the mentioned functions work not only on the still images, but on the live video stream, as Mike will demonstrate. Gender detection is accurate. Emotion detection has been tested also independently in the US, and we have shown high results there. What comes interesting next is that besides the face detection and tracking itself, we understand that there are a lot of situations when face, due to angles or due to the certain types of camera installation or scene or environment limitations, is simply not visible or visible to the extent when the recognition quality will be bad. So what we did is we added human detection and re-ID or tracking algorithm into the SDK, and it's available now. And this will be the best step, which will both help you to keep the track of the person of interest through cameras, as well as use the resources of your available hardware efficiently. What we also did as a side project, and we had a lot of funny things like detecting or recognizing even pigs' faces and stuff like this, but The valuable thing is that we also did the vehicle detection and vehicle model classification. Mike will correct me, but I think there are like 485 types of vehicles supported, makes and models and stuff. These human detection parts and vehicle detection parts are not in the integration yet with NX, but they are sure coming. We are just trying to polish the whole integration thing to the extent that the core function for face recognition works best.
And to that point, I mean, you guys are just constantly updating the plugin as you guys develop additional features, right?
Yeah, I'll talk about plugging a little bit later.
Yep.
Looking into the plugin architecture, but the thing is that for us, when it comes to NX, it's not something that is common with other VMS system vendors. When you have some kind of API description and you are capable of putting up some kind of integration and then maybe have a call with the vendor to showcase what you have done, right? And then consider it the integration done. We actually have been working with NX team for like 2 years already, I think now, Tony, right? So it's it's a process that is covered by both parties, right?
Yeah, VisionLabs has been really instrumental in helping us to optimize the SDK in general because VisionLabs has a pretty mature product. You guys had really specific requirements in terms of what you needed from us in order to be able to process frames efficiently. And so the VisionLabs development team has worked really hand in hand with the Network Optix development team to really implement the SDK that everybody's using, and then continues to give us kind of feedback on new things that you'd like to do. And so VisionLabs has been a real instrumental partner for the metadata SDK and the meta platform in general, as kind of our initial partner that we began working with. So, correct.
Yeah, exactly. So when sometimes me and Mike, we talk to the partners, and since NX started adding multiple face recognition vendors on the partner page, and obviously we also work with multiple VMS vendors naturally, right? For NX, we can say 100% that no one knows better than both of us of how this thing was created in the first place, right? So
Yep.
we know how this runs, and it was a very interesting thing to do together in the last couple of years. So, right?
Correct.
The first things comes first, and every face recognition vendor comes to you and says that they are the best, right? The first step for you to do is start studying NIST RVT test, which is being live since 2017. It has around 200 or something face recognition engines being tested there. It's a lot of reading, it's a lot of information, blah, 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 but all the key parameters that are interesting in terms of the performance of face recognition engine, from accuracy to face template size to speed of face template extraction to speed of matching, everything is there. And it's a good thing for you to start with when you are trying to shortlist the candidates for you to do the own live testing, right? Some things that are important about VisionLabs engines, and we try to stick to this approach from day one of the current NIST RVT test. So what was submitted to NIST already is in the product. The reality for VisionLabs is that today we even have the later version of the neural networks in our production version of an SDK than the ones that were presented to NIST RVT. Because if you will see the NIST RVT picks up algorithms from mid 2019 or end 2019. And obviously, since we update the engine every quarter, you have the latest thing always in the package, right? Also, when you will see at the basic algorithm properties, you will see that the VisionLabs algorithm is marked in green. And on the bottom of the page, you will see that with green, the algorithm is highlighted, which implements sublinear search. Sublinear search is a very good thing because when you have 1,000 faces, you can match in 50 seconds. And when you have 10 million faces, you will match in 51 milliseconds. So there's no gradual increase in the matching speed depending on the database size, right? What's also important about the engine itself, and it's becoming a real headache in terms of the implementations, both for government and commercial customers, is running in the cloud or virtual environments. We are completely hardware agnostic. We can run in the cloud. We do it efficiently in AWS with tens of thousands of cameras. So it's not a problem for us. We have a great experience in doing that, while most competitors will have limitations on running in the cloud, some for the requirement to GPU thing, some for the hardware or software protection that is being utilized. But nonetheless, this is one of the key things that differentiates us from the others.
When you say you can run in like any environment, right? That means everything from like ARM devices all the way up to like giant cloud hardware. Like,
yeah, sure. The SDK itself, the Luna SDK, can run anywhere. It's not an issue, and we even ourselves produce hardware products that utilize face recognition engine from our face recognition engine capabilities on ARM-based SoCs, right? So it's not a problem for us. We are starting to support AI or neural chips right now. So we do a lot in the embedded side of things, so we know how we run on embedded SoCs. We are a great partner of NVIDIA when it comes to their newer embedded platforms like Nano and obviously Jetson TX2 and stuff. So we are pretty confident that for the embedded side of things, besides server itself, it's a good choice.
Have you guys worked with the Movidius stuff at all from Intel?
Yeah, we did. But for us, I think that when it comes to embedded platforms, what we see from the partners that we work with today is that there is not much not much interest for the Movidius platform today from them. I know that there are a lot of followers of Movidius platforms, but not in our partners' scope, right? So traditionally, and based on the demand that we were getting from the partners, we support obviously ARM-based SoCs, including NVIDIA ones, and also the CPUs from Intel.
Thanks.
Yeah, so finally, test. Always test the engines in live scenarios. A good example of a recent customer that we have won is that they wanted to do an access control system based on the face recognition on turnstiles. So what they did is they took 10 vendors, gave each one gate, and asked them to set everything up to demonstrate a free flow solution based on face recognition. And VisionLabs was able to work better and more accurate than anyone else. So try testing yourself and make sure that the testing conditions are equal to all vendors, right? And to us, and I will repeat it in the last slide, we always provide the engine for free, just like NX. For us, it's a matter of showcasing the real product capabilities. Like, we are not playing some marketing tricks here, besides me making this presentation. So if you really want to experience the product, nothing stops you. There are no fees. If you want to develop something on top of it, we don't charge you for the developer license. We don't charge you for the SDK access and other crazy things around it. So as long as we are pursuing some joint partnership interests together, feel free to use our product. Okay?
Generally, what's your how does your base licensing work?
Yeah, the licensing for us is a very complicated question, and let me tell you why. So there are different markets, and there are different use cases, and there are different ways how customers themselves are ready to consume the product, right? So if we look at the face recognition market in general, what you have is you have per channel based licensing with some database or watch list limitation. You have per database size licensing. You have the per transaction licensing. You have some other weird combinations, or per site licensing, or whatever, right? To us, the baseline approach is always the database size or watch list size license. We don't limit the number of cameras that you connect to the system if it comes to one customer or one server or server cluster installation. So we believe that it's the most appropriate approach, but we have a lot of different ways that we work with partners, from per channel licensing to revenue sharing, monthly fee, yearly fee. Even we have a case when we license the product based on the square feet of being surveilled, right? So a lot of different things pop up, and if it makes sense for both us and partner, and of course the customer, we are ready to go for it.
Got it. So licensing is based off the number of faces in the database, pretty much.
Pretty much, this is the preferred approach for us.
But you have flexible licensing models depending on what the customer is actually trying to accomplish.
Yeah, we are forced.
Okay.
This.
Yep.
The market is very, very broad for us, because like right now we are talking here about CCTV or IP video surveillance-based face recognition or analytics, right? But you have know your customer or digital onboarding when the mobile devices are involved, right? And when you have more demand for one-to-one matching, where traditionally per transaction model is more appropriate, or you have border control type of applications where there's a completely different world, right? So for us, it's a matter of finding a common ground on what the licensing model be best for the particular partner go-to-market strategy. That's all. Yeah, so since we are an engine, right, and NX obviously provides much more interactive tools and application and GUI and everything, you basically can start utilizing the core functions like face recognition, apply this to access control, do analytics and connect third-party BI tools with NX Meta, right? So our engine doesn't have any interface. We do have a debug ones that help you get acquainted with the system, but they are not being used in production. Our things are C++ calls or JSON calls, so it's all running in the background, and the customer doesn't see what's happening. They just see the result in NX interface or in some other third-party partner interface, right? So, and what we have found on the market, and I've seen many VMS systems, obviously, is that NX, no doubt, is one of the most efficient platforms today for creating video-based applications. And when it comes to the new concept that company has introduced with NX Meta, obviously, in this world, there is a great need for more flexibility in how you can actually create more complex customer journeys and offer more functionality than what is pretty much every VMS system does today. And I think that both Luna platform, Luna SDK, and NX Meta delivers that, right? And I said it before, and I'll say it now. In terms of hardware consumption, and the ability of the system to run on the embedded platforms, I don't think that you will find the more efficient combination of the VMS and face recognition system today. Yeah, so this is a fancy slide. Okay, let me do this. When it comes to integration, it's not an easy one. So obviously, not only Luna platform is integrated with NX Meta. We have a combination of Luna SDK working with the frames, detecting faces, tracking them, and then Luna platform runs beside, and it consumes the detected faces and produces the recognition results and returns metadata to the metadata SDK from NX, right? So events are generated by the Luna platform events and statistics service. Actions obviously are the part of metadata SDK. Then the plugin settings are all inside the product itself. You'll be able to see it. And then, as you can see on the right side, of the chart. It can be run on cloud, desktop, mobile, server, whatever, right? What's good for us is that the system runs completely offline all the time. You don't need any connection to our servers. We don't need to gather your data. You control data stream. You can run it in local area network. Doesn't matter. We don't need an access to the system at any time.
So the Luna plugin that's on the server. Sorry, could you go back one?
Yeah.
The Luna plugin that's on the server is the C++ SDK from you guys, and its job is mainly to detect and capture and send the best faces to your platform, right? And then your platform will analyze and return the associated metadata to NX in the form of an object that's been detected, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And then you also send specific events to us, like recognized face, blacklist, whitelist, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. In our case, we don't have blacklists or whitelists. We think
Just
that
lists.
all people are equal, Tony. But yeah, the thing is, the rest, when it comes to logic, like what you want to do with it, how do you want to label the list? Or do you want to label Tony's list? Do you want this list to also generate further action, like send an SMS to a certain mobile phone? It's up to the user and the functions of your system. What we are doing is we are connecting the way how NX Meta is processing the video and enriching it with our metadata so that you both can see all the things, all the fancy stuff live, as well as work with the video archive when all the meta information is being stored alongside the archive.
So there's a question that came in and says, how does it work if you run it in the cloud? Is there network needed? You want to answer that?
Network needed for what?
Yeah, I think the question is, if you're going to run in the cloud, you obviously need an internet connection to be able to communicate with the server that's running VisionLabs.
Yeah.
So when Anton said earlier, you don't have to have an internet connection. That's if you installed the system on an on-prem solution and you put it all in the same hardware box, which is possible. Then you can run it all locally without having to have a network connection. But if you put the Luna system, Luna platform in a cloud environment, then the plugin would be installed in your local server, and it would communicate to the cloud location. Basically, when you're configuring the plugin in NX Witness, which Michael I think is going to show later, you have to put in the IP address of where the Luna platform server is running in order for the NX server or the Powered by NX product server to communicate with the Luna platform.
Yeah, Tony, one important thing is, first, it is your cloud, it is your instance. We don't have anything to do with it, right?
Right.
You manage it, you manage all the information streams, connections, and everything. We don't have access to it. In our case, Luna platform is a passive system, right? It doesn't go and look for cameras. It doesn't go and look for anything. It can receive either a live video stream in the form of RTSP URL, or it can receive a data stream in a form of pictures containing faces. That's all it can do, and it can produce a result. In order for it to work, it doesn't need to go into any external location other than the instance allocated for it in the cloud with appropriate virtual cores, RAM, and blah, 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 right? So
you guys use the Luna SDK to develop like mobile apps as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it can run completely independently, or it can run in a kind of larger kind of enterprise environment. It can run it independently on a device. It can run in the cloud. It's got a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, because there are questions around connectivity and networks, etc., right? Or about the security. So what I answer to customers or partners all the time that a Luna platform or our product will inherit the security measures that you have in your IT infrastructure. We cannot do better if your IT infrastructure is not secure, right? We cannot change the current broadband or 4G, 5G networks, right? This is something that we do not control. If they are not secure, you are not secure. We have nothing to do with it. So
Yeah, we say the same thing, which is that the security of NX Witness, we do everything we can to make sure that the inter-system communications are secure. But in terms of access to that particular box that's running on, if your network is not secure, then your system is as secure as your network is. Right?
Yes, sure. And also remember that obviously one of the key users of face recognition systems are governments, right? And in government customers, you have a lot of interesting security measures. And the first security measure is for the system to be able to run offline, right? And this has been tested multiple times. And customers try to catch us sending some requests or trying to do pen testing on a Luna SDK, right? But what is to pen test if there is no application layer, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, let's hand it over to Mike. I'm talking too much.
All right, so we've got a couple questions that came in. We'll wait until the Q&A section for these guys while Michael gives the demo. So Mike, over to you.
Yeah, maybe you should make him present that. I need to stop sharing here, right?
I think you just got to stop sharing.
Yeah, hey, 1 second. Had to run out real quick. Going straight back. Home office. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Gotcha. All right. So, I can start with just a live demo, and then I can show setup afterwards if that's what we want to see.
Yes, that'd be good.
Okay. So here, let me launch the server real quick. Okay, now I'll start sharing.
So
Okay.
Mike, you're in Moscow right now.
Yes, so my internet is not exactly great because kind of in Moscow in the same sense that, the valley is Los Angeles.
Looks like your server's not running.
So, yeah, server's offline. I just started it back up over here. I thought I just started it back up. There we go. Okay. So here we go. I've just got it running on my my webcam here. And we go over to the Objects tab.
The demo gods might not be smiling on you today.
Yeah. Plugins enabled, recording enabled.
There you go.
There we go. We got a box. Are we going to get that attribute estimation and the recognition? Okay, great. Awesome.
Don't worry about it, Mike. If you want to show the configuration while your machine's booting up, you can close the camera to show how the plugin's configured.
Yeah. Okay. So I recorded some videos earlier so that, I don't have to do this.
In case the demo
So it
guides
starts
were not
off exactly, which is the case now. So you just open the virtual machine, which is in the Luna platform that we send you. Trying to find it here. There it is. Yeah. So you launch the virtual machine, which is where all of it happens. I'm renaming it here. And as that's launching, just skipped ahead. I've launched a new Meta VMS server. So that went ahead. And then what I did here is I copied the VLabs NX Media Server plugin file, and I moved it over into the program files for the meta VMS. But it turns out I had already done that. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit further here. Yeah, so media server, just paste that in. Turns out I had already done it right here. And so you have to go back.
Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
So the plugin gets installed just like all the other plugins. You just copy and paste over like an archive from VisionLabs, like Mike was just showing, into the plugins folder of the server application.
Yeah. Okay. After that, restart the server. And I was sitting here waiting for the virtual machine to launch. And then after you restart the server, you can go into the network settings. You can see the plugins tab right there. You can enable it. Under the system administration tab, that's where you kind of configure it. So this is just turning it on. And so here you'll be able to see that it's doing face detection and the best shot extraction on the plugin, like in the plugin files itself. And then it's sending out all that data to the virtual machine. So yeah, that's where you can see that it's actually extracting all that data there. If you record it, it starts working. I don't have the VM working quite yet, so I have another video here. So in this one, VM launches eventually. There we go. Jesus. Okay, great. So that it showed an IP address right there, and that IP address is what you have to plug into the or type in to the system administration tab. I'm going to do that right here. Unfortunately, my computer wasn't doing too great when I was doing this, so I couldn't do the rest of everything else. But you can see right here, the Luna host, that's going to be the IP address. Luna list ID, that's in the REST API. Luna token also can be found in the REST API.
So just real quick, Mike, while you're on that. So the Luna list ID is the list that you're going to be checking faces against, your default list, right?
Yeah, and that can be set at each camera too.
It can be set at each camera. So say you can do it as a default list, and then you can have individual lists for individual cameras. The API version is important, depending on which version of the plugin you're running, which version of the Powered by NX product you're working with. That goes up as these guys continue to develop the Luna platform. And then your Luna token there is your credential for authenticating to the Luna platform, right?
Yeah, bingo. So here I just plug in that, and then I think for the rest of the video, I enable recording. I try to get into the REST API, but it wasn't happening because I was running like 12 things at once. So, hold on.
No
Just
problem.
clicked out of something.
Yeah, let's get to the questions, Mike. Like like I said, the demos are free, right? Let's hope that the guys who previously tested some earlier versions of the integration will have a chance to experience the newer versions, because even I am surprised how this thing looks now, because I'm used to an X-Witness logo even, right? I haven't seen it in a while, right? And yeah, they'll be able to judge by themselves. Okay, Tony, if that's okay with you, let's do this.
Q&A.
Questions? Let's check out the questions. So we're going to do our experiment. We're going to allow people to answer live. Figure out how to do this. Participants. All right. So Michael, you've had several questions. We're going to start with you. So I'm going to allow you to talk here. Michael, you there? Seems like you're there, but we're not hearing you.
Yeah.
That's all right, Michael. We're not able to hear you right now, but I'll ask your questions out loud.
Yes.
So Michael asked a question: what is the hardware requirements to run on a local server?
Yes, so we do have a calculator for the Luna platform that helps you calculate how much server power you need in order to process video streams simultaneously. What I hear from the NX VisionLabs task force as of yesterday is that for i7 6th generation CPU, it will take you about 4 to 5 full HD cameras with VisionLabs plugin running, but the 6th generation has a lot of models and different frequencies and stuff, but pretty much that is something that you can aim for. But the hardware calculation in Excel format is available, and we are able to talk you through the details on how to calculate it more efficiently based on the number of requests that you are actually getting per second, not like with a virtual value of some number of channels or the database size, because, for example, the database size itself doesn't matter that much in terms of the hardware resource capacity. The video streams as well as the number of face template extractions per second is what matters.
So it can run on pretty much lots of different types of hardware, but the really important thing is what's the power of that hardware. Is that right?
Yes, sure.
So I pulled up a demo since Mike was having trouble with his, but you can see the results of what the actual integration looks like once you get it implemented on your site. So you can see here I've got my face, my age, my gender coming in. Evgeny's hiding behind me. Evgeny's in charge, is our meta dev team lead. He's in charge of this whole project that he's been working with VisionLabs for 2 years on. So you can see him pop in and pop out. But this is basically what the end result looks like. You've got your objects coming in, you got your people being recognized, and you've got your associated metadata tags. And now this was one of the initial versions of it. So now there's a lot more information, as Anton pointed out earlier, in terms of what metadata is being generated off of those faces. So, all right, next question was from, I think, Too Long. And he said he's tested the demo of NX VisionLabs or VisionLabs on NX, but he can't create the lists and that work on the same time in Network Optix. I think that might be just a technical challenge that you guys can assist him with. Is that right?
Yeah, I think Mike, you already mentioned something about types of lists, or I missed.
Yeah, so you can set the list, like the master list, and then for each camera, you can select the list that camera is working off of. Additionally, for like a whitelist, blacklist situation, a really easy fix that I found is with the name that you enter when you create a person, you tag like white or black onto the end of it so that you can search for those tags when you create event rules. So when you see event rule and it has white in the tag, then something will happen. If it has black, maybe something else will happen. You know, that's just kind of like a caveman style fix, but it seems pretty effective.
All right, Duncan's got a question. I'm gonna try the talk thing again. See if Duncan's mic is working. So Duncan, if you're ready, I'm gonna allow you to talk. So here we go.
Yeah, I just had a question about the running it. I see you have the Luna platform in a VMware container. I'm just wondering if it's available in other container formats or if you can self-install it on any kind of platform.
Yes, so by design, it's just for the demo purposes to run it conveniently, right? The rest and how you package the Luna platform product itself is up to you.
Okay.
Thanks, Duncan. There's an anonymous question. Is how do you deal with privacy like GDPR? Do you focus only on security, or do you also do retail applications?
Yes. So fortunately, we have nothing to do with GDPR. right? And you see a lot of companies in the face recognition space try to mislead the partner and the customer that the product for face recognition can be compliant to GDPR requirements, while it is the personal data operator or the customer and his infrastructure and his processes and his measures to store, collect, transfer this data must comply to GDPR, right? So,
So you say you guys are more like a processor, a data processor, so you don't have to deal with the how do you use it. That's more of an operational thing.
The software itself doesn't fall into any form of or definition from GDPR, right? It's up to the customer to comply to GDPR, or up to the partner if they are providing a service to the customer, right? The only thing we do is process incoming images and matching them with face templates. That's it. We are not doing anything with personal data. Also,
Yep.
there are a lot of interesting things around retail, for example. When we are talking about statistical or demographic analysis, there is a separate section in GDPR regulation that allows you doing so. Also, there is a lot of debate whether the personal data is actually the one which is the face template or hash code of the face alone, or when it is connected to a name or a social security number, etc., etc. But just remember that right now, in terms of privacy, right, you are less secure when you're using the smartphone, right? So when the customer or partner implements all recommendations from the certain government bodies in the countries of presence that require GPA and provide GDPR certification, you will be able to easily pass it.
Oh, all right. Miguel has a question. I'm gonna activate Miguel. So Miguel, if you're ready.
Myself. Hello there. Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hi. My question to you is real quick. We have a customer that has a industrial park with 5 access points with trunks types, and they are interested in doing face recognition, and I think they'll be running like 20 faces by second, taking into account all the 5 access points for employees to come in. I would like to have some kind of recommendation, hardware recommendation, and from you in order to know what kind of hardware do they need to achieve that needs.
Yeah, I think Tony will send the presentation to every attendee after the show, right? And you'll be able to see my email in this presentation. If you could message me after the meeting, I'll get this information to you in no time. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you very much.
So just on that question, Anton, so like if there's a specific project or requirement, the best thing to do is just email you guys and you guys will give them back some hardware recommendations. Is that right?
Yeah, you see, as I told you, we do have a Excel calculation table. But since you are not doing the business with VisionLabs for the last 5 years, and you don't know a lot of nuances that can both lead you to failure or allow you to save a lot of money in terms of hardware resources, we recommend to at least do some initial projects together with us under our supervision, right? We are not playing smart guys here. We just want to make sure that the product is being implemented according to our guidelines, and that's all. Later on, when you will do project number 1, 2, 5, it will be easy for you. We will not be bugging you for additional explanations or something like this.
All right. Thanks, Miguel.
Yeah. Yeah, I also see the questions about LPR, right? We do not have plans on doing LPR in general. We do have an LPR product, but it works only for one city in the world. It works in Moscow, right? And it has a little bit different approach to what is being done here on the LPR market. It is not doing OCR. It's not picking out symbols from the license plate. It is matching the incoming image of the license plate to the database of templates of the stored license plate images. So it's a little bit different approach. It is used as a supplementary system to increase the quality of the OCR solution that is being implemented at the same time in the city.
All right. Next question is it possible to use all the different features modularly, or is it all in one?
CPU or GPU based, right?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so we support both CPU and GPU. If you want to use CPU together with GPU, use GPU. If you only want to use GPU, use GPU. It doesn't matter. In fact, all the benchmarks for different platforms, from ARMs to CPUs and larger servers to GPUs, are inside the Luna platform and Luna SDK benchmarks in the documentation package. So you'll be able to easily find the information you're looking for in terms of the product capability of running on different hardware types.
So in terms of the features, like the different types of recognition that you guys have, face, age, gender, race, all the ones you pointed out earlier, can you turn on and off those features, or are they all together all the time?
Yeah, Mike, this one is to you.
My guess is you could probably turn it off. There's some files in the plugin file that you could probably just get rid of.
So that's not a typical question you guys hear?
No. Usually people want all of it.
Yeah. In terms of the integration with NX, I mean, like once you've got the data integrated, you can kind of choose to use that data or not, right? So basically in the search for objects, you're allowed to look by the different attributes, by the name, and find that information. The next question is from Tanya Gallardo. She's got a couple questions, or he's got a couple questions. Let's see. Let me make them live. Maybe. Oh, there. Hello. Is it Tanya?
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So, Anton was speaking regarding the test engines and also the face recognition capabilities. So, I would like to know regarding the vehicle testing. We haven't tested that. We currently have a Luna demo running in our offices to test basically the service, and we have tried it with faces at the moment, but not with vehicles. So I would like to know, he was speaking regarding to having a database of vehicles that can be recognized.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we access that database? Is it included in the demo?
Yes, so this, thank you, Tanya. This is a separate function of Luna SDK. After the call, I'll get back to you on getting the demo kit, right? And it's not 80, I think it's 480. It's a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get you the documentation and the tool to run a demo of this vehicle detection and classification engine. It's not integrated in NX, but you can test it.
Okay, and also you mentioned the test multiple engines. So basically, what other competitors would you recommend comparing the Luna to other engines?
Okay, so remember, I'm a sales guy. I need to be 100% transparent with you, but I also need to protect my interests. So let me answer to you like this, right? So when it comes to the competition, go to NIST FRVT ongoing test. If you need me to send you a link, I will send a link to you. And you'll be able to clearly see who are the top performance in the test, at least. If we are talking about engines that perform well, obviously, right now, There are some companies coming out of Japan. There are companies coming out from China. There is one American company who is doing well. But when it comes to, is doing well in the NIST test. When it comes to checking the performance in real life conditions, it depends. It depends. But I would say that in the last 3 years that I am doing this business for VisionLabs, I didn't lose a single POC, right? As far as I know. Maybe I did, but no one told me. But still, yeah. So if you have some additional questions, message me. I'll try to get some more information to you and guide you how to look through this huge NIST FRBT report, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tanya.
just remember that you don't need to pay for testing the engines, right? It's your right to select the engines. I know that some companies charge you like $10,000 per week or charge you thousands of dollars to become a partner and then test the engine. Like, what's the problem with that? Get your product to the partner, have them test the engine. If they like it, they will buy it. Like, I don't see a problem with that. I don't understand why this is happening in this market, except for the reason that most engines actually suck.
So there's another question, Anton, and I can't read the name. Maybe you can.
Okay. Evgeny Stivakin.
There you go. So let me allow Evgeny to talk. I figured it was Evgeny, but I couldn't. Evgeny, you there? All right, we're going to answer his question.
I don't see him connected. But yeah, anyways, when it comes to angles, you should understand one thing about face recognition. The less face you see, the less similarity score you will get. Big angles mean that you will get less face seen. As simple as this. The goal of the system is to set the minimum similarity score threshold as high as possible. For example, 85% and up for video surveillance, 95% and up for access control or border control. When we are doing face-to-pay projects, the customer is setting the similarity score threshold to 99% and up, simply because it's a cooperative mode of capturing the face. It's fast, but it's cooperative, right? So with the increase of face angles, you may experience similarity score degradation, right? And this also will happen with the database size increase. So what we officially say is that up to 45 degrees, you will be getting pretty much stable results. But the less the angle is, the better. That's it.
So some of these angles and everything, I'm going to share my screen again. In the configuration for the plugin itself, you guys have some of that information to help you optimize with the best shots that are being captured, right? So best shot filter, you got the rotation rule, you got the pitch. In terms of the number of pixels that you need to recognize a face, is there a minimum?
Yes, obviously there are minimum values. Right now the minimum values are 50 by 50 pixels. Recommended value is 96 by 96.
Yeah, so you can see here in the plugin configuration, you also have the ability to go in and say, are you utilizing the GPU for the detection? Are you using CPU? You're also able to set the threshold for similarity recognition. So there's a lot of different configuration options that VisionLabs uses in the plugin configuration to allow you to kind of optimize the faces that are being recognized in the system. All right, Anthony. We're going to you next. Let's see. Let me stop my sharing. And Anthony, you're live. You got your mic on. I will assume Anthony's mic isn't working. So his question was, for smart city projects, is there a possibility to have VisionLabs representative come in and assist in the presentation and questions?
Yes. So I myself visit more than 40 countries every year, right? But I am a talking head. Right? And they know a lot of tricks, and they know a lot of pains and a lot of marketing mess that is being fed to the customers. So in terms of talking to the customer, I'm very helpful in that, and I can visit you. Today is not the right time to discuss a possible visit, right? But of course, there is such an option. Besides that, not only the talking head can visit you and the customer. As I said before, the integration and developer license that we provide to the partner is free. We also provide a free license for the POC. Doesn't matter, it's airport, smart city, retail store, doesn't matter. So what we do is, I also have an option, and I do it all the time. I send our engineers who are covering the respective zones throughout the globe. I mean the regions, and they assist you in setting up the system, in making sure that it runs smoothly and to the customer expectations. So I don't think it's a problem at all, except for the current virus situation.
Yeah, VisionLabs has been working with NX on quite a few projects, and Anton and these guys are pretty aggressive in helping us to solve customer issues, including going to site, doing proof of concepts. They're really responsive. So the next question is from Anonymous. Do you provide any kind of reporting, and is it included in the Network Optix platform?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to answer the first question? I can answer the second one.
Okay. Yes. So we ourselves have two things that we can do. We have a way to set handlers in order to filter the incoming data, and then we can provide an output to you in a certain format. We don't do any kind of visualization. We don't do any data manipulation. What we all understand is that, especially when it comes to most of current enterprise implementations, is that there is some marketing system or BI tool already in place, like Tableau or some free tools that are also efficient for most of the use cases. So what is possible for us to provide is this data stream that will be processed by the BI tool of your choosing. We don't consider it our business, but maybe NX does. I don't know.
No, I was saying we have a similar approach, which is right now what we focus on is getting the data into the video system, associating it with the correct video in the timeline, and then giving you the ability to go through and search video based off of the associated metadata. So all the metadata from plugins is stored in a metadata database that you get to decide where it kind of lives when you're installing your system and you're adding a plugin. And all that object data is stored, and I believe it's available via our REST API in the same way. We're like Anton, we're not a reporting engine. There are many different reporting engines out there like Tableau or Data Studio or lots of different types of development environments that allow you to rapidly develop custom reporting interfaces. Most important for us is exposing that data so that our partners can develop custom interfaces for their customers who are asking for specific things. That being said, we will be doing over time, we add more and more analysis tools, and in our upcoming releases, we have things like health monitoring and some additional reporting tools that we're putting in place. So over time, as people have kind of standardized requirements in terms of what they want to see in terms of reports, you'll see more of that reporting capabilities built in to the platform. But right now, it's really primarily focused on the usability in real time and the ability to search. So I think that is our last question for now. We are at, let's see, 10:06, so we're about an hour and 6 minutes in. We usually target an hour. So if there are no more questions, then I think we are done with this webinar. Does anybody have any additional questions? All right.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
So this is Kathy from Socionext. She just wanted to tell Anton what's going on. So Socionext is one of our partners that works on an SoC, a custom system on a chip. that's been optimized for AI applications. Also, a really interesting solution. If you guys are out there building new solutions, you should take a look at. What operating systems do you run on? Is another question.
Yeah. So when it comes to VisionLabs products, Luna SDK is completely cross-platform. It supports Windows, CentOS, Red Hat, Ubuntu, Android, iOS, embedded Linux, whatever you want. When it comes to Luna platform, it is run usually on CentOS. You can run it in a virtual machine, pretty much in any operating system.
So the majority of your customers that run in virtual environment, they use VMware?
Yes.
Okay. That's a typical setup from what we've seen. You run a VMware container, and then you just start it up like Michael was showing earlier.
Yeah, usually it's VM there and also some tool from Oracle. I don't remember the name.
VirtualBox?
VirtualBox, yeah. So it's not a problem. Like the OVA file that you are doing, it will run anywhere.
So the next question was, sorry, go ahead.
Do you provide wrappers other than C++? So when it comes to the library itself, it comes together with examples. So you are not doing everything from scratch. You have a lot of tools and pre-built examples that help you do it. Our CTO hates other things than C++, right? So it's a little bit hard for us to do some stuff in addition to C++ on .NET or I don't know, some other stuff. So all our things are in C++, and we are doing the set of examples for each functions and their combination.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, well, maybe some questions are coming in. Let me finalize the thing here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so VisionLabs is not a young company. It's not a startup that appeared yesterday. We have an 8-year history of the company. Reliable business. We are very well financed. We are stable in terms of revenue. We don't need further investment to survive, even during the coronavirus. So today we have the headquarters in Amsterdam. We have offices in Paris, Dubai, Singapore. Mike is moving to the US to start the US office this year. Japan is coming this year as well. Kathy will like that, and Socionext too. So the markets for us from 1 to 3 today are APAC region, then comes Middle East, then comes Latin America. Important thing for everyone to understand that VisionLabs never works directly with an end user, right? Mostly because end users are not capable of working with an engine itself. They need a pretty much ready solution or something custom to be made. And we are not doing custom UI, business logic development, or system application level development, right? And the final thing is we do not have any exclusivity with anyone in the world. Doesn't matter, it's Asia or America, right? We haven't encountered any issues on protecting the deals or protecting the sales leads or projects with any customers or partners around the world. So we think we are pretty efficient in that. I'm the single point of all the information sources in terms of the incoming leads and partner relations. We do have regional managers like Mike. The one is in Singapore, the other one is in Dubai. But still, this whole machine that I created in 3 years is running pretty much efficiently. So don't be afraid of whether you are a larger systems integrator or company or a smaller one. We don't differentiate. The approach is the same. The communication level is very open, transparent, efficient. We are doing WhatsApp groups to discuss the integration. We are ready to set up the calls and everything. Yeah, just where the product itself is not a prototype. You will spend a couple of weeks trying to read through the documentation and understand the capabilities of it, right? That's why it's easier to start with NX and VisionLabs integration. Thank you, Tony, and thank you, everyone. You see my contacts here, and I think you will send the presentation to all the participants today as well.
Yeah, the presentation and the webinar will be up on our video channel as it's being recorded, so you guys can check it out again. And as Anton said, thank you guys very much for attending. Stay safe out there, everybody. And thanks to Anton and Michael. Michael, the demo gods may smile on you next time.
Yes, hopefully.
If you guys have any significant, any additional questions, or you just want a better demo, then feel free to reach out to any of the NX sales team members in your region, or to Anton and Michael, and we'll be happy to show you guys a working demonstration, since the demo didn't go so well today. But again, thank you, everybody. We appreciate your time, and thanks, Anton and Michael.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.